Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the first round of the Formula 2 series here at CRS. My name is James and with me this evening for the first round at Road Atlanta is Adam. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thank you.
Looking forward to this evening's racing. That'll be fantastic. It's going to be great here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, I think it's going to be brilliant. Some drivers already out on practice. They're just getting those last few laps in before qualifying starts in a few minutes. Obviously, we're on that build-up to the IndyCar series with CRS. And this is the final step. 4 weeks, 8 races. And a great race, a great double race event tonight with a sprint race and a feature, Adam, around a track that has the twists and turns that really challenge some of these drivers.
Yes, indeed we do. I've actually got the track map here with the important corners tonight. We've got the S's coming up, so that's going to be an interesting part of the track for the drivers to get through. You expecting any battles between specific drivers?
Well, looking at the practice at the moment and the times, I mean, it's pretty close, right? You've got Matthew Lee, who is the reigning Formula 3, Formula 4 champion, as he comes up through the ranks. He's won everything so far, looking pretty dominant. But looking at at some of the times and from some of the drivers, you've got the likes of Jimmy Murray, you've got Banzler, you've got Strahinja, you've got some really fast drivers that could challenge Matt for the wins, I think, at these circuits, especially with these sprint races. So the feature race obviously is the second race of the evening. It's a 45-minute race. That's going to come with a pit stop. Strategies on that, obviously we'll chat more about it later, but just a quick view on that for the season and how you think that's going to play out.
At this early stage I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah. Obviously the choice of softs, mediums, hards. Drivers must use both tyres. In that, the drivers have been given their briefing. They've been told to just make sure they're nice and fair, nice and clean. It's going to be a good season. We've got Road Atlanta, we've got Watkins Glen in there. We've got some great circuits, you know, and for a Formula 2 series, some of these tracks are quite challenging, Adam.
Oh yes, yeah, no, absolutely. They're not the simplest of tracks. They're quite bumpy surfaces in some places. You've got plenty of divots where the cars, especially GT cars and faster cars like that, and share some of these circuits. They really put the weight down into the tarmac, and that it causes the cars to be a little unsettled through some of the corners.
Yeah.
Some of the traps are pretty deep as well, so you want to be steering clear of some of that sand and gravel out there.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with that as well. I think these drivers are going to want to be careful. It's quite a tight circuit, really. Not a massive opportunity for passing, apart from maybe the chicane at the end of the circuit and the corners at the back end of the circuit. But the fast flowing sections, I think that's going to be pretty difficult. And whoever qualifies at the front should stay in front for quite a while, I'd say. But yeah,
best lap at the moment is 1:10.32.
Yeah.
At the front and a 1:19 at the back.
Yeah.
So 9 seconds between the front and the back. It's going to be interesting. You might start seeing some back markers and blue flags coming out on this race.
We may very well do indeed, and those drivers are going to have to obviously be cautious and be smart. But yeah, we've got practice just ending for the drivers. Anslow looking like he's the quickest with a 1:10.4, so we're going to jump over to that now as we get ready for quali, Adam.
Aye.
So we've got some drivers that are currently just finishing up their laps. Oh, and Van der Pasch there, off into the grass in his practice. Looks like he's still learning something about the setup. Van der Pasch, one of the newer drivers in terms of this particular series.
We got a spin there. Look.
Yeah.
Van der Pasch off the road.
Yeah. On board with Zoranovic at the minute, and Zoranovic looking like he's just getting used to the car still. Hasn't actually put a lap on the board for practice, so guessing he's just kind of taking his time, but maybe he's going to set a lap here in the overtime. Nope, we should be going to practice any moment. Over to quali, sorry.
Doesn't look like he's going to get a time in.
I don't think he is, but practice is practice. Doesn't really mean much. Once the overtime does tick over, these drivers will be starting qualifying. So we're in that countdown now. And yeah, it looked close, I'd say. Looked pretty close there in practice towards the end. Definitely some drivers to look out for. But obviously we don't know this grid yet, Adam, and the drivers are...
They're all new to me, so yeah, this is going to be a new experience. So it'll be interesting to watch out, see who the strong drivers are, who are the less strong. The aggressive ones, the passive ones, yeah. Hopefully we've got a nice grid out there.
Yeah, agreed. It's going to be a good grid, I'd say.
Judging by the times, there's some varied levels of ability on the grid there. So
there is. Agreed. We're just waiting for that session to tick over. And in the meantime, I'm just going to get the stream out to the Discord, so people can see what's going on. Yes,
incidentally, anyone that's currently listening in at the moment, we've got 2 streams going out right now. We've got a live stream going out on the Black Box TV, which is showing you a slightly different view of the very same race that we're both talking about here. And if you're on Black Box and you head over to CRS, you can pull that up and you'll get the view that they're seeing.
I was going to mention that actually. Could you give us a bit more as these drivers now come out of the pits, and already 2 drivers fighting with each other as they come out the pit box. It's a bit confusing, and at some point they're going to lag through each other, and now they're side by. That is confusing. Yeah,
I'm getting a bit of lag on my end here. I've just had to pull the stream slot off. I will be bringing you back right now, though. My AC needed time to catch up. There we are. We're back with the action. Fantastic.
Yeah, a bit close there, but yeah. Tell us a bit more about Black Box and sort of, a bit more about what you're doing and where you've come from and stuff.
I'm originally from Bournemouth. I've moved up here into finally wee Scotland, and about 1.5 years ago, a friend of mine introduced me to Assetto Corsa and gave me a Logitech G29 steering wheel and pedals, and ever since then we've kind of just been mostly racing each other, setting up servers.
Yeah, setting up the servers, getting Black Box running to where it is, and I mean, I've come across Black Box and the tracks you're doing, and we're using a Black Box circuit this evening, obviously. So very much thanks to yourself for that.
Traditional. Say that again?
You cut out, sorry. Just saying that we're obviously using a Black Box circuit this evening. The Road Atlanta Black Box. And it's a good circuit. It's generating confidence in these drivers.
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic circuit. We drive it. We drive all these circuits through our online events, and they run every hour, so you get quite a lot of practice in it if you're lucky.
Yeah.
I haven't actually driven these cars. Oddly enough, I didn't actually have this car in my collection earlier.
Yeah, this is this is a FSR mod. Yeah, it's not a bad mod actually. It's quite good. Some of the geometries are a bit odd, but the actual car drives as a car should. As we get the first driver crossing the line,
I was going to say, we've got
starting his out lap. 5 minutes left on the clock for these drivers. Paul Kitchener, someone who's been racing in Formula 4 and Formula 3, doing really well. Midfield, Banslow, currently P7 over the 37, but looks like he's going to set another lap here. But yeah, he's a contender for pole, definitely, as we carry on into qualifying.
Who was that sat in the pit lane there?
Someone was sat in the pit lane. I'm not sure who that was.
Haskell. Haskell sat waiting to come out of the pit lane, I think.
That would be me.
Oh, yes. Man then, it would have been Man.
It'd be Mannion, yeah.
Yeah, he's out on track now then.
Yeah, he's out on the circuit. Some of these drivers using soft tyres, some of these drivers on super soft tyres as well. You can see the graphic down at the bottom of the screen. Matthew Lee currently with a first set in pole position at the minute with a 1:10.7. Sean Smith P4, we're 1.4 seconds off. He's on super soft, so those super softs not necessarily the strongest at the moment.
We're slowly starting to get some delta times in as well.
Yeah,
so we just had fastest lap was Sean Smith. 1:12.219.
It's Matt Lee's gone quickest with a 1:10.4. Zoranovic with a 1:10.5. So those two fighting for it, and then Banslow with a 1:10.6.
Oh, wow,
they're all coming in. With 3 minutes left on the clock for this first sprint race of the season. Matthew Lee looking comfortable in pole position right now, but Strahan Zoranovic definitely. He's gone back into the pits. Look, he's good. Looks like they may go for one final qualifying run. Yeah, the lap times looking close between the top three there at the moment, Adam.
It's very close.
Sean Smith with a 1:11.7. Looks like he's returning to the pits. Benjamin Rowley, he's new to the series in terms of being a driver. He's currently fourth with that 1:11.5, so really good. And Matthew Lee there with a 1:10.1. That's definitely put the cat amongst the pigeons.
You're talking there's less than half a second between the first two on the grid there.
Yeah.
Superb lap run by Matthew, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Just coming through the SC with Tim Brown. We're currently riding on board with Tim. I don't know who you're with.
Currently on board with Ben Rowley. Currently P4 with that 11.5. Looks like he's having a bit of lag, but nothing that's causing any major issues at this moment in time. Sean Smith posts that at 11.7. That puts him fifth. Jimmy Murray was quicker in practice than he is right now, a 1:12.0. So he's got some time to make up with Van der Pasch, 1:12.5. You've got Paul Kitchener with a 1:12.9. And then Tim Brown with a 1:13.2 at the moment. And there's been contact. There's been some contact.
Oh! Who is that? Is Rowley and Banslow?
It's Rowley and Banslow coming together. Rowley's carried on. That may get investigated post-race. And looks like the rest of the time's coming in now. Mannion and Salas at the back there. Mannion with that 14.6 and Salas with that 18.0. Looks like Salas has got some ground to make up. Either learning from this race and going into the feature race, or just as he goes through the season.
Tim Brown's not done too well either.
Tim Brown with
131.
13-2 from Tim Brown. Not strong at the moment, but he may come back and set another lap as Zoranovic puts in a 1:10.3, closing in on Matthew Lee. 40 seconds left.
Well, Rowley currently holds the top speed record on this track at 286 kilometers an hour.
Wow.
Which is absolutely flying on this track, I'm telling you.
Salah's
average speed about 270.
Yeah. Salas in the 14 car there, getting a little bit in the way of somebody.
Is that pit lane?
Yeah, it's a pit. We are using the left pit lane. Yeah.
So he gone wide there and ended up in the sand.
No. Oh, and Jimmy Murray puts himself P6. Affirms that position with an 11.7. So he's only just off Sean Smith. They're very, very close, and that actually comes back from. Oh my God, what was that? That actually comes back from last season in IndyCar, where Smith and Murray were extremely close to each other. Paul Kitchener, 11.9. So there's quite a few drivers in the 11s there, Adam, and it's going to look quite good. As Zoranovic at the final moment in qualifying, we've not seen it, but a 1:10.0 from Zoranovic. Matthew Lee, P2 with a 1:10.1, and he's not going to be able to go back out, Adam, and set another lap now. That is it. That is it.
That's out of time.
Tom van der Pasch crossing the line. It's his time. It's an 11.1 from van der Pasch. That puts himself P4. That he will be extremely happy with that, I can assure you of that. Tim Brown still out on a lap. Is he quick enough? Has he got that lap in him to put himself within that top sort of 6 cars? He's definitely got the ability to do so.
We've also got Smith out. Oh no, Smith's just coming into the pits.
Smith's just coming in. So Brown looks like he's going to be the final driver, and it's only P9 and a 1:12.3 for Brown, so he's improved, but it's not moved himself up, unfortunately. But yeah, final driver to go back to the pits. And there we go, with our first qualifying done. Hectic as that was towards the end there. That's our grid for the first race. You've got Zoranovic P1, Matthew Lee P2, Banslow in P3. All 3 of those guys in the 1:10s, and then van der Pasch with that storming lap at the end there, a 1:11.1. Rowley in P5 with a 1:11.4. Sean Smith and Murray P6 and P7 respectively, both doing the 1:11.7s. Kitchener with that 1:11.9. Tim Brown with that 1:11.5. I think he could have done better. Mannion with a 1:13.9, and Salas improved to a 1:17.6. Adam, what a great first qualifying.
Fantastic qualifying. Interesting, Matthew Lee, number 2 positions, actually got the fastest section 2 on this track at 19.547. So,
what do you think that showcases as we start the countdown now towards the race? I think that'll have quite an effect later. I mean, he's almost 6 seconds through that section quicker than anybody else. Yeah. I think that'll make a difference. I think maybe the downforce is maybe slightly higher or lower, depending on which sector they're in. Obviously, Sector 1 is actually quite heavily downforce dependent, really, isn't it? Or fast corners. And then Sector 2, you've got that long back straight. You don't really want that much drag, I'd say. And then that final sector into the hairpin and over the rise under the bridge. That's definitely a minimum. That's a minimum downforce, I'd say, or close to a minimum, because you want to carry as much speed as possible. But that's probably where that's come from. But a good grid lineup, 11 drivers, fantastic grid for the first race here at Road Atlanta. Obviously, this first race, 15-minute sprint race, so no pit stops. We can see what these guys can do in the race. You've got 15 seconds until they start on the grid. A dry race, Adam, and obviously the crowd buzzing in the background over there as they get prepared.
Naturally, with the popcorns and the ice creams. In fact, the weather looks fantastic over there.
It does look absolutely brilliant. The drivers now on the grid. We've got that 2-minute countdown until lights out. Strahinja Zoranovic on P1, Matthew Lee P2, Banslow P3, and Tom van der Pasch P4. Those 4 guys, they've probably got the best chance, Adam, at doing something at the start here.
Those are the guys we're going to have to keep an eye on then.
Absolutely.
So they got a pretty, I mean, there's a pretty long drag race to the first line. So the guys that get a good start at the very beginning, they'll be straight into that corner. The guys at the back, I don't know, probably filter through single file if they've got any sense, and try and stick it for the long haul.
I agree with that massively. Obviously, this sprint race, it's going to be a short blast, lights to flag race. No strategy really required. I don't know exactly what everybody is on tyres wise. Looks like at least Zoranovic, Van der Pasch, Rowley are on the softs, Smith on the mediums, Murray on the mediums. So those guys looking to maybe come back at the end of the race, at that final sort of maybe 5 minutes. But we've got 30 seconds until lights out. And yeah, this is going to be an exciting first race. And a race into the unknown as we get ready.
It's an interesting tyre choice for Smith and Murray with the mediums on a sprint event. You'd think they go for the...
You would think so, wouldn't you? We're going to have to see what happens. We've got 10 seconds until lights out. And it is the first race as we get down to the 6 lights. And we are racing in Formula 2 at Road Atlanta. Away we go, and we are flying away. There's a car stuck at the back there. I believe that was me. Apologies. Oh, and there is a car off already at the back.
Oh, really?
There's a car off already at the back as we get all this stuff up. Matthew Lee running P2, Strahinja running P1, Banslow running P3, Rowley took a position there at the start. Van der Pasch has moved all the way back down to P10, so an appalling start from Van der Pasch. Oh dear.
Rowley spun on.
Oh, and Rowley has spun, yeah. He's
out of the S's, isn't it?
Oh dear, and that's a poor start from Rowley and from Van der Pasch, 2 guys that were running at the top there. They put some really good laps in, and already their race kind of ruined. It's only a sprint race, Adam, and that kind of rules them out for fighting for big points. Strahinja.
Daniel's right at the back.
Daniel Salah's right at the back, 30 seconds already behind. His pace hasn't been strong, but you know, he's still here, he's still racing. As we look at Jimmy Murray and Tim Brown going for a bit of a race, as Jimmy Murray looked on the inside, but no, he's not going to go for it. He's going to be patient and stick behind. Will he move up past in the next corner? He's going to go for the move on the inside of turn 1, but backs out of it and does the brave thing. Tim Brown running those softs and Murray running those mediums. Looks like Tim's going to have the early advantage as Paul Kitchener sits on the back of Jimmy Murray. They're very close indeed with Rowley right behind them, lagging a little bit, but not really massively in the way at the moment. Oh, and there's been someone off. Simon Mannion has gone off through the S's.
Oh, yes.
Big crash.
Just on the other side of the S's there.
Yeah, he's just gone off and he's going to try and rejoin, but that's extremely unlucky for Mannion. Mannion's going to get back on track, and he has done so. Simon still learning to get to grips with the car, saying he's struggling a little bit, but he's slowly getting used to how it handles. Ben Rowley, P8, in that little gaggle of cars there with Kitchener P7, Murray P6, Brown P5.
No. The cars are starting to bunch up mid-pack, but the leaders are starting to thin out quite a way.
Oh, and there's been a pass. As
do you see that Paul Rowley?
I can't tell. Is
Rowley past Murray, I think?
I believe so. Yeah, it was. It was Rowley past Murray. I got a bit confused there with which driver we were looking at. Excuse me. As Murray then, under pressure from Kitchener now. He's got some work to do, but Rowley's gone wide in the S's. So Murray having to second guess what Rowley's doing. That looks a little bit unsafe from some of the drivers as Murray's gone off. And I think he's collected.
Kitchener's off.
He's collected Kitchener as well, and both of them
Yeah,
have gone off
into the
together.
barrier.
They're both going to have to get
can't-
back on circuit, but that's not great from both of those drivers. I don't know exactly what happened there, who was at fault. And we'll sure thing find out post-race. But not a good time from those two drivers at the moment. Paul Kitchener.
Salas has just spun coming down towards the start finish.
Yeah, he has. He's just spun as well. A couple of drivers seeming to struggle, as Strahinger and Matt Lee are very close to each other right now, and they are fighting each other. Only 5/10. It's close, and Matt Lee wants that first place. Banslow running P3, 2.3 seconds away, and then Sean Smith running P4. Paul Kitchener here running in P8, 26 seconds now off the lead, but after that incident, that can't be helped. Jimmy Murray just caught back up with him.
0.02 of a second, 1,000th of a second difference between the top two cars' fastest laps.
Wow, that's insane. That's insane. Both of those guys at the front really pushing it. Daniel Salas getting quite a bit of airtime in a minute, but yeah, just having a bit of a tough time of things. There's Zoranovic now clearly in the lead right now, and Matt Lee just putting the pressure on. 10 minutes to go in this race.
And we've got Haskell he's in the pits. Oh, that's you.
That's me, yeah.
That's right.
Yep, I'm in the pits because some
You are in the pit.
Ben Rowley hit P6 now. Made up some places. Van der Pasch, actually, also made up some places. P7, so both of those drivers may be finding some confidence in qualifying. And now they're starting to work their way back up through the pack. Tim Brown running P5, now under pressure from Rowley. As Murray's span has gone off the track. Not sure where that is. We've not got a clear view of where he's come off.
Corner.
Oh, it was the final corner.
Yeah.
He's going to come across line. He's P9 now and struggling quite a lot currently with things.
And we've got a predicted fastest lap on Zoranovic of 1:10.59.
1:10.59 from. We'll see if Zoranovic puts that lap in. Matt Lee has lost a bit of time to Zoranovic in that lap. He's now 1 second away. He's closing in. But Zoranovic looks like he's currently holding a comfortable lead, a manageable lead with a 1:10.6 lead doing a 1:10.7. So Zoranovic gained on him again. Banslow with the 1:11.5. So the drivers behind in those 1:11s. Banslow kind of on his own. Smith does a new personal best of a 1:12.6. Brown a 1:12.2. Rowley a 1:11.9 as well. So Rowley is starting to push now and is starting to see how close he can get to taking a few more points in this first race. It's very close.
Yeah. Okay, that's confirmed. Zoranovic has got the fastest lap of the sprint so far, 1:10.628.
These drivers do get a point for fastest lap as well, so that's going to aid Zoranovic in his championship contention as Ben Rowley goes down the inside of Tim Brown. A move that was perhaps a little bit late, but Tim Brown couldn't do anything about it. He opened the door, and Rowley now is going to try and pull away from Tim Brown and keep the pressure on. And behind Tim Brown is Van der Pasch. So Van der Pasch is still in this fight. He's still there, despite that first lap accident. He's back in the top 7, and actually not that far off the lead. So doing pretty well at the moment. Getting to the mid stage of this race now, and Rowley's absolutely sending it everywhere at the moment. Matthew Lee still 1 second away from Zoranovic. The times are very close between those two drivers, Adam.
I know.
Yeah, it's incredibly close.
Doesn't look like there's...
Salas has gone off and he's actually flipped the car. That's going to be back to the pits for Daniel Salas. Oh dear, that was a huge accident. Upside down in the barrier. Looks like he had a massive issue. And Jimmy Murray has spun. Matthew Lee chasing Zoranovic. Only 6/10 now away from Zoranovic. With a much faster lap than Zoranovic, a 1:10.5. That may be a new best, and it is. It's a new fastest lap from Matthew Lee, 1:10.5. Jimmy Murray struggling to get things going. Looks like he's having a hard time with the car, and he's actually the next car that's going to get passed here by Zoranovic and Lee. A bit unfortunate. Perhaps not the first race that Murray would like, but it's one of those things, isn't it, Adam? Sometimes it's a good race, sometimes it's a bad race.
Yeah, last week I had a terrible week. I don't think I finished much above last at all last week on any event.
And there's the test F2 car that you don't see that often. As Daniel Salas is coming back out of the pits. Fair play to Mr. Daniel Salas. Struggling with his car, but he's coming back out. He's carrying on. That's what we like to see at CRS, is someone that just keeps trying until they get there, you know.
Just keeps going. That's right. I mean, we always we strongly believe in just trying to finish the event. It doesn't matter where you come. You just got to finish that event, because that's the only thing that counts. Going the distance.
I think Simon Mannion's coming to the pits, by the way.
Sean Smith and Tim Brown are having a bit of a battle going on.
Oh, I can see the change on the time, but we're looking at Tim Brown, and Sean Smith's off. Oh dear.
Back, yeah, a bit of a slide. That cost him dearly.
Oh, we missed that. We were watching Mannion in the pits for some reason. Tim Brown then 5th, and you can see that Smith with a 1:17, and he's now a couple of seconds off Van der Pasch. So Van der Pasch making up some time there. Well spotted. Van der Pasch pushing Brown. Looks like Van der Pasch has got some pace at hand here. Needs to get past Tim Brown and chase after Rowley. There's only a few seconds between them two drivers as well. Zoranovic on lap 8. Lee now 3.3 seconds as round goes Banslow. Oh, was that Banslow?
Oh, who's off?
Oh, that may have been Mannion, actually. I think that was Mannion who span.
Yes, Mannion had spun.
Yeah, Mannion span off the circuit. Not a great thing. Tim Brown being pressured by Van der Pasch. Mannion, not sure where he lost it, but hopefully he's not caused any more issues or any getting in the way of anyone.
Van der
Pasch
went
for a move there. Yeah.
Went for a lunge on the outside there. That was pretty impressive.
He did. Ben Rowley's coming into the pits.
Yeah. Tyres.
I'm not entirely sure why.
It'd have to be tyres. I bet he's pushed his tyres.
It's a strange time to pit. Matthew Lee running P2. That Carlin Red Bull livery. Nice livery to choose, and he is doing strong. But Ben Rowley in the pits, but he's coming back out the pits now. Not sure why he pitted. Must have been some sort of reason, but that puts Tim Brown now and Van der Pasch in 4th and 5th. And the ties between them two, we need to get back to that fight, because that fight is looking extremely close. And sure enough, we do, with Tim Brown cutting off Van der Pasch a little bit, but Sean Smith in the battle as well. So 3 drivers now with 3 minutes to go, Adam, fighting for that top 4. Paul Kitchen is struggling a little bit, but getting back on with his race. P7. As it just starts to calm down now, the gaps between some of these drivers now rather big. And so the cameras are going to jump to just different drivers at different points rather than the closest battles. But Daniel Salas moving out
the
of the way.
Tim Brown battle is quite a Tim-Tom battle. They're getting really close. Wow, that was a great overtake by Tim.
Sure enough, we're on board with Tim. Tim Brown, Van der Pasch, Sean Smith. Now the positions are swapped. We missed that on the stream, but we are with it now as Daniel Salas has to move out of the way.
Yeah.
Sean Smith just getting through there as well. Sean Smith spins.
Fun.
Oh dear, that's going to be not great
Was
for
it
him.
Sean or was it Man?
Yeah, that was definitely Sean. yeah, Sean Smith has spun the car there.
Yeah.
That's not great. But he's back on circuit carrying on. But that does put him out of that battle between Van der Pasch and Brown, as Lee has moved down to 3rd position. What has happened to Matthew Lee?
Oh, yeah.
Really trying to work that one out. Zoranovic on his final lap, I'm assuming now, or he will be coming on to his final lap. Banslow now P2, so this is unexpected points for Banslow. But the question is, what happened to Matthew Lee? Was that a car that was being lapped, or was that a car that got in the way, or did he just lose it on his own? It's difficult to really know what happened there, Adam.
Well, we have to go back to the replays after the event and see what happened. That'd be interesting. We completely missed it. We were focusing on the battles on the other side of the track, so on the other side of the circuit. So
absolutely, yeah, we've kind of missed that as Paul Kitchener just getting past Daniel Salas there, and just in his own little bubble at the minute. Currently driving with Mannion in front of him. He's a lap down, so just hoping for him to get out of the way. But the shock there is Lee. Van der Pasch P4, Jimmy Murray P9, we're just on board with him now, but Tim Brown P5, Sean Smith P6, and your top 3 Zoranovic, Banslow, Lee, 7 seconds covering those 3 drivers. Looks as though, is Lee going to perhaps close in on Banslow? I'm guessing he's close.
No, it doesn't look like at the moment. The delta between the two does not seem to be changing much at all.
Okay. And the leader now on the final lap. So we are going to cut to the leader any moment now. And here he is. It's Zoranovic. Strahinja Zoranovic. Taking P1 in the sprint race. Good win for him. First win of the series. Well done to him as he celebrates, crosses the line. Zoranovic P1 and Banslow will be jumping. There he is. Banslow and Lee P2 and 3, and they were very close as they came across the line there. Murray's going to cross the line P9 a lap down, but we really now want to see the battle for that top the next 3 cars as Van der Pasch P4 for Van der Pasch. A great comeback in just a 15-minute race. Fantastic work from him, and he's going to cross the line in P4. Brown is going to come across the line.
Eventful, yeah, really eventful event.
Yeah, Brown P5. Sean Smith going to finish in P6. A good race from Sean Smith. Paul Kitchener holding his own in P7 there. And Rowley finishing P8. And yeah, Daniel Salas is going to be the final car to cross the line, and there we go. That race is done. A great race from all the drivers. And while we wait for the next server to start, Adam, we're going to have a quick review of that race and chat about the comings and goings and there and who performed well. So, yeah, fantastic. Fantastic race, really, from all the drivers.
Yeah, nice and clean. I didn't see anything dirty particularly going on. We had some interesting events happen, obviously, but that's racing.
It is racing, yeah, that's very true. You standout drivers from that race? Do you have any standout drivers at the moment?
Wow, Zoranovic, obviously. Very impressive drive, led pretty much from the start, didn't he?
Yeah.
Lee, Smith, and Rowley, they all had pretty exciting events.
Yeah, they did indeed. And some drivers there that maybe need to make a good comeback. Murray not having a very good race. But yeah, while we wait for the next lobby to start, which is in 5 minutes' time, and we're going to drag some of the drivers over, hopefully. Bear with me while I just organise drivers know now what happens next. This for a moment and just change the permissions. We get the drivers in that we want to get in. Just 1 second. This is something I should have done earlier and I forgot to do this piece. So, right.
I've muted my mic. I'll stick some music on for the people out there.
Going to wait for those drivers to come and join us in the commentary booth as we wait for the next server to go live. And yeah, good race, but we've got some perhaps some people saying that they are struggling a little bit. It's yeah. Just waiting for those drivers if they do indeed join, which they should do. We've got Banslow joining us.
Oh, we got somebody in, yep. Right, I'll go live then. Let's go live. And welcome back to the CRS Road Atlanta. If you've only just joined us, we are about to start. Well, we're going to introduce you to some of the drivers and have a chat with them before with the main race.
Yep, so we've got the drivers in from round 1. Stra with that first position, Banslow with that second, and Matt with that third. Stra, the first win of the series. How was that for you?
Honestly, not great because my wheel was disconnecting all the time, and my like the downshift just failed sometimes. So I was kind of scared about the wheel breaking, and I just didn't feel the car. Like it felt like the force feedback was broken for me. So I was driving a bit under the limit. So not like I think I could do a 109 in quali if I didn't have like the broken force feedback. But still, I think it was a great race. I actually thought we had to do a pit stop because I wasn't in the driver's briefing, and I heard a pit stop. But that's for the next race.
It is for the next race, indeed. That's correct. Yeah. Banslow, P2 there, unexpected P2, I'd say, but all good for you in the end there with that position.
Yeah, it was kind of gift from Matt for making a mistake. I don't know which lap it was. It's a bit of crazy lap then, because I think after the first corner the Daniel spun, and it was near a crash, but I managed to avoid it. And then on the end of the lap, I somehow managed to avoid Matt. So yeah, P2, I'll take it. The guys in front were faster than me, so yeah.
Yeah, nice job. And a nice job from you. Matt, P3 in the end there. You were in P2 pretty strong up until the last few laps there. We didn't really see what happened, unfortunately, but give us a bit of a lowdown into maybe what happened there and what you've got for the feature race going forward.
I just caught out by the dirt, yeah. Lost all downforce at the rear and it caught me out. So yeah, is what it is.
And so yeah, we're all looking forward to the feature race. It's been a ton of fun, this sprint race and commentating on it. So thank you for giving us some brilliant action to watch. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the feature race that starts in a few moments' time. Cheers, boys.
Well, there you go. That was
yeah, that's our drivers.
That was our drivers.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. I might actually be having technical issues with our audio stream on our stream. I'm just checking this. So please bear with me. All of a sudden, I've lost our mic channels on our audio. That's not right.
The next lobby is now live. So we've got that 5-minute practice. Drivers need to be joining now. So we'll tell them now.
you go.
We just take a quick 2-minute break. I will be back momentarily, and then we'll crack on with the next race. Underway for the feature race now. A few minutes left before the qualifying for that, and that's a 10-minute qualifying. Obviously, now you've seen the times, Adam. What do you think the qualifying will look like for race 2? Thought you were there. Sorry.
Alright, so yeah, I'm back. No, we are streaming audio, so that's absolutely fine. It's just OB Studio not showing me the audio level. So we're back. Do you want to know something interesting about the track?
Go for it. I'd love to know.
Okay then, because I've gone and got my facts. I have.
Okay.
So the track is about 2.5 miles long, which is about 4 kilometers.
Yeah.
It is a road course located in Georgia in the United States. The track has 12 turns, including the famous S's, which is what we were discussing earlier. There's always a bit of action down through the S's.
Always, yeah.
That's between turns 3 and 5. And turn 12 is a downhill turn, which can often send cars into an off-camber situation. And as we saw in the previous race, end up with cars facing the wrong way on track. So,
Yeah.
nice challenging track.
It is it's really challenging. Obviously, we saw in that sprint race that it was catching some of the drivers out, but that was a window into what this feature race is going to be like, and maybe some of the drivers will have toned down their setup to make sure they can go that whole 45 minutes distance and be at a good pace. So we will wait and see on that one.
It'll be interesting to see what their pit strategies are going to be. My advice from previous experience would probably to start off on the mediums, try and get them to last as long as possible, and then go for a dash with a lighter fuel load in the last few laps and try and get fastest lap and obviously take the lead then.
Yeah.
But for the duration of the track, don't worry about first place, but just try and keep on it. Oh, Vanderpass has gone off. He's had enough.
Practice just going a bit wide there.
Yeah.
So we're going to cut back to the feed any moment now.
Smith has stopped in the middle of the track. Oh, who's just crashed Banslow? Put it into the wall.
With our drivers as we just finished practice. No representative times to be set in this particular session. But obviously the next qualifying, 10-minute qualifying.
Kitchener, interestingly enough, during the practice session has set the fastest lap at 1:12.1, followed by Tim Brown with a 1:13, but they're the only two times we've currently got listed, official times.
Yep. And Van der Pasch just putting a lap in before the overtime pops up, I think. Sean Smith just getting a lap.
Smith got 1:12.
Yeah, I think he maybe just put a lap in, he's coming back to the pits.
Oh, and that was Van der Pasch in the dirt again. He's liking
Yeah. So no particular times to pop up at this moment in time. Obviously, the relative yet to pop up on my screen, but the drivers maybe just seeing what the cars feel like with heavy fuel, different types of tyres.
Personally, I'd be using this to hone and improve the setup I had on the first race. Now that I know, obviously, the weather, the track temperatures, air temperature, it all makes a difference on the tyre pressures.
Yeah, it does. It makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Sean Smith's in the trap.
Gravel there.
Pushing a little bit hard coming into the pit lane there, I think.
Just a little bit, but again, this is something the drivers are practicing in this practice session. As the time does wear out now, and we're just waiting on that wait time before qualifying starts. But yeah, otherwise, these drivers have obviously had time during the week to go out and set laps and get their setups honed in around the circuit. But something that hopefully some of them have practiced is the pit entry, like you say, and that is really quite important to get that pit entry right and to understand where the pit entry goes as well, because it can catch you out, I think.
Yeah, you can lose a lot of time. It's also vitally important to know where the pit lane starts, because you can absolutely hammer it down the pit lane up until the point where the actual pit lane starts, the pit entrance, and you must be below is it 80k on this track?
Yeah.
As you pass that line, if you go above it, you will get a penalty.
And drivers will be really not wanting any kind of penalty for that. But yeah, we've got a 10-minute qualifying that starts in just 20 seconds time. So a bit more of the same from the last event. Obviously, the last qualifying was only 8 minutes, but this 10-minute just gives everybody the chance to sort of understand. A lot more drivers now jumping onto those super softs in preparation. You can see that on the driver board at the moment, as those drivers starting to switch to what they believe is the optimum tyre for qualifying. Now, these drivers won't have to start the race on the tyre they qualify on, but they will have to change to a different compounder. All the drivers are coming out now.
Yep, the leaderboard has been set. Go back to the track action.
Daniel Salas coming out of pits there. Now, tyre preparation for these cars, Adam. How would you say these drivers need to best go about getting the tyres prepared for that absolute full-on quali lap?
Right, okay, well, what we're looking at, we've got a 26 degrees air temperature. Wow, that's a hot tarmac surface we've got there today, 37 degrees. So that tarmac is going to be absolutely baking. Generally, in these sort of situations, I'll be dumping as much air from my tyres as possible in the first few laps, and then using the temperature of the road to heat the tyres up, as opposed to the driving. That then obviously expands the air inside the tyres. It then increases your pressure, so you can get at least the optimal pressure. It's set up to you to make sure your toe is set up and your camber is set up to make sure you can keep that tyre temperature up once you've started getting it in there. But you need to get your tyre up to pressure first. And that is always tough. If you overdo it, too much pressure in now, and I'll be telling you, these cars will be running on very low pressure today to get any kind of serious grip through the corners. If you put too much pressure in, you'll soon find out how quickly you can cook those tyres and how quickly you will lose traction on this track.
Yeah, that's very
Especially
true.
in the final corner 12, on that downwards. Unless you've got a lot of acceleration, a lot of downforce, you can find yourself heading towards the pit lane.
Heading straight towards the accident, as they'd say in other parts of commentary. Ben Rowley, P5 at the minute with a 125, obviously just an outlap and just a lap to just bed the tyres in, perhaps. But he's going to come around and I'm guessing he's going to start his next lap, or this will be a lap. No, he's come back into the pits. Ben Rowley back into the pits there.
It'll be quite interesting to find out what sort of aero packages some of these guys.
Absolutely, we've got a driver passing there. I think that was Matt Lee, and quite possibly Banslow, who now starts his lap. There's 7 minutes to go in this qualifying. Van der Pasch starts his lap as well. Lots of drivers starting their flying laps. Zoranovic getting set for his fast lap as well. And these drivers just preparing those tyres. Low fuel, this is the fastest and the nicest the car is going to feel for the next hour, definitely, with the fact that these cars are going to be running either quite a lot of fuel or enough fuel to get them halfway through the race, which is still going to be more than what they're running now, Adam. So, I think we're looking at 110s as the ultimate fastest. Zoranovic in that interview there, saying that he might be able to do a 109. I think it's pretty bold from him.
That's it. I was going to say that's a bold claim. I wasn't seeing any predictions like that on the telemetry this end in that last race, but I'm going to hold him to that. You never know. By the end of the race, it's possible. A half-empty tank, depending on what tyre strategy he's gone with. I suppose it's possible.
It could be very possible. You're very right. With Lee, Matt Lee now setting the pace, 110.4. So
well,
not far off.
The softs and soft. Yeah, it's expected.
Banslow with a 110.5. So again, Lee and Banslow right on each other. As Zoranovic, he's going to start his lap, I think. Daniel Salas just again getting himself warmed up. Not confident with the car, says Daniel Salas. So definitely struggling. But you know, these drivers are still learning. It's their first evening of racing with these cars, wheel to wheel, and maybe there's just still a bit of a learning process for Salas, but he'll get there, won't he? He's one of those. He's going to be one of those drivers that will improve throughout the season.
Yes, certainly.
I say that.
As we're talking about it, spinning up across the start-finish line there.
And he's gone back to the pits. He's going to try again.
Don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
I would imagine he flat-spotted his tyres.
May have very well flat-spotted those tyres. Zoranovic, I don't know what's going on, but it doesn't look as though he's set a lap. But maybe the delta is wrong for me. This could be a lap. We'll see.
We have got a lap of 112. He's predicted 109.
109.9. Okay. Zoranovic setting the pace there in quali of 109.9. That's the first time I think that's been done, even in practice. With Ben Rowley's just starting his flying lap, but that was a good pole position. A good pole position attempt. Can Matt Lee come back with an answer for that? Paul Kitchener.
Not this lap, I'm afraid. Currently it's predicted at 110.6. So.
Yeah, right, okay. Van der Pasch. With Van der Pasch now, as he goes through the S's. Comes up the other side. And that big left-hander, you can use a lot of that curb on the way out of that corner.
Yeah.
Him not using as much of the curb as maybe you could do, but in the Eurocoli high-tech F2 car, number 24, and he's race pacing in the sprint, P4, good solid points. He seems to be confident with this car. And currently a 1:12.0 from him, so he needs to find a bit more time. Ben Rowley just getting a little bit rowdy as he comes through the chicane and out of the final corner. His lap time is going to be a strong lap time, though. It's going to be an 11.2. Strong lap from Ben Rowley. Van der Pasch is going to cross the line, start his lap. Looks like he's not put... Oh, no, he has. He's put an 11.2 in as well. So Van der Pasch and Rowley, only 0.003 of a second between them.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So Van der Pasch doing a great job. And oh, I say that, but he's... Oh, he's just saved that.
We got a spin.
Whoa, that was close. And he's gone back to the pits, Paul Kitchener. Nearly arrived at the accident there, but looks like Tom went back to the pits in time. It's always a thing, that, isn't it, Adam, is if a driver spins in qualifying and they want to return to the pits, if they don't do it quick enough, another driver can arrive on the scene before that driver's gone back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It can cause a lot of issues, I'd say. Kitchener, currently P9, running a 12.6. We've not seen anything from the likes of Mannion yet, and we've not seen anything from the likes of Salas. Salas has put a time in, but it's not yet gone up on the Delta board.
We've got a time for Salas of a 1:17, but he's got a predicted of a 1:15.9.
Oh, so Daniel Salas may improve then. And that's going to be huge if Daniel Salas improves and gets a good time on the board.
What will be huge, if I could just interject there, is Zoranovic is going for another fastest lap here.
Wow.
Currently predicted a 1:09.5, shaving another half a second off of his current time.
Yes, we're sat with Daniel Salas now. We're going to see how Daniel Salas improves. It's starting to look a bit quicker from Salas. A bit more confidence perhaps in the car and the circuit.
Well, judging by that last corner, to me it looks like he needs to put a bit more braking up at the front of the car.
Well, he's done a 16.6, so another second improved on. That's pretty massive. Yeah.
If he can get more breakage at the front, get the stomping in at the front, which dips the nose down, it help him pull through the corner.
Yeah, Zoranovic has gone quicker again, a 1:09.7.
9.7. I told you it's coming up for a 1.
Huge lap from Zoranovic.
1.5.
Yeah.
He's got a fastest section too as well, with a 25.488.
Matt Lee hasn't got a response to that particular attempt. But again, the setups may be different, and as the race goes on into the feature race, maybe Lee's setup is different and stronger in the race. Banslow a 1:10.5, so those two are definitely very close. Van der Pasch and Rowley, their time's still split by 0.003 of a second. Salas is going for a final do or die lap.
It looks like Zoranovic is going to be taking a medium tyres for the race to start with. It looks like the team have already swapped their tyres over already.
Jimmy Murray 1.2 off in that sector. Can Murray climb his way back up? That fastest time is a 1:09.7. This could be a 1:10. It's not, it's a 1:11.6. It does move him up, and it puts him in that big group of 1:11s as well. That's Brown, Murray, Smith, Rowley, Van der Pasch, all in those 1:11s, Adam, and Kitchener.
So tight.
1:12, not far off.
It's so tight between them, isn't it?
It's incredibly
Crikey.
tight. Yeah, it's incredibly tight.
Wow. That's cosy. That is cosy.
It bodes well for what we've got coming in the race. Kitchener with a 12.3. Brown looks like he's still on a lap as we sit with Brown now. He is the final driver. Can Brown move himself up from that 1:11.8, which is an improvement? Oh, and he's lost it. Oh, he's lost it. And that is his lap done, and that is qualifying over. Zoranovic came out again, but it is done. Qualifying is over. One would hope he's not trying to set a faster lap, as that is against the rules. It won't count, so we'll have to see.
No, he's not. He's bailed on that one. I think he's just testing out his tyres. He's got the mediums on the car, so he's just seeing what the difference between the softs and the super softs. I think he was on the super softs earlier, and the difference between the mediums is so he can adjust his driving for that first start, because that is going to be crucial for him at the front.
Absolutely crucial indeed. And as the drivers now finish their qualifying, Adam, really good qualifying there, but a new track record for us so far. Obviously, it's the first time we've seen a 109 in the sessions. Strong
I think that's the first time I've seen a 109 on that track, in fact.
Apart from those top three, have you got any other drivers that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, Salas, Daniel, you just keep with it, man.
Yeah.
I always back the underdog, and you're my underdog for this race. Just finish the race. What you got to do, man.
Exactly. This is it. Finishing the race is key, right? So
yeah,
getting to the end, that's what matters.
So
you're 11 drivers.
Yeah.
You're 11 drivers on the grid. Strahinja Zoranovic with that 109.7 and a really good quality lap there. Matthew Lee doing that 110.4, 6 tenths off, but we know he's probably got a bit more time in there. Banslow with that 110.5, so very close to Lee, but holding strong in P3. Tom van der Pasch, again, a strong position in qualifying, but he needs to get a really good start in this race to make a difference. He's P4 with Ben Rowley, and then Sean Smith alongside Ben Rowley at the start of the race there, and that's those guys all in the 111s. Jimmy Murray with a 111.6, putting himself P7 alongside Tim Brown in P8, and then Paul Kitchener, Simon Mannion, Daniel Salas round out the final parts of the grid. It's going to be an interesting race, I'd say.
It's going to be hard to call.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to call. Some of the drivers opting for different strategies, and what we can see already, and I don't know if drivers are going to change things before they jump to the grid, but a lot of drivers Adam, starting on the mediums by the looks of things.
Yeah, which is what I suggest. Start on the mediums and then kind of try and keep them as long as you can, and then the last few laps have some nice fresh, maybe 4, 5, 6 laps to the end. Get onto the softs and have really nice fresh tyres for those last couple of laps and get that fastest lap as well.
Yeah.
Do a Verstappen on everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, it needs to be. Yeah, he needs to just come back and give something with it. But 40 seconds. The drivers are reminded to do a litre of fuel or a tyre change, but the drivers must do a tyre change, and we've got the tyres graphics up below for us so we can see when people are on what tyres and what they change to. 30 seconds.
Matthew, he's on the super softs.
So I did think that. I saw that. So he is going to be on the super soft. So is that going to mean that he gets a really good start and a really good launch?
But
from
he's going to run out. He's going to wear his tyres down really quickly.
And we've got 10 seconds to go and 6 lights to go out as we go to race 2, the feature race here, Road Atlanta for the CRS F2 Series. And away we go, and Strahinja gets a good launch, but Matthew Lee also a good launch, and Banslow right beside him.
Matthew's right on the tail.
Matthew's right on him and on the tail. Daniel Salas right at the back of the pack. Simon Mannion just there, but all the cars much slower as they usually would be. Obviously, from the sprint race.
Accident there on turn, whichever turn that is.
Oh, that is a big accident. That's huge. That's absolutely massive. And that looks like it's...
Oh, that's some yeses.
Is that Zoranovic? That's Zoranovic and Smith. That's Zoranovic and Smith. Matthew Lee is down to 6. Banslow, P1. Rowley, P2. And Van der Pasch, P3. I don't know what happened there, but Zoranovic has made that really difficult for himself, or whatever happened. That was huge. I
wonder what sort of damage we've got in those cars.
Someone else has gone off in the background.
Off in the back as well.
Yeah, someone else has gone off in the background. These drivers now. This is different. This is now different. I think that's Mannion that may have gone round, or Smith.
Yes, it was. It's Mannion that went off.
Oh no, it was Smith. It was Smith. Oh no, it might have been Mannion actually. You may be right. Look at this now. This has really flipped the race on its head now, because Matthew Lee going to start trying to make his way through the pack. Murray P4, Van der Pasch P3, Rowley P2, Banslow P1. Banslow has the biggest opportunity now, Adam, to kind of run away from the rest of the pack, right?
Yeah, but Daniel Salas is now all over Zoranovic, who was at the front of the pack.
Oh dear.
So go on, Daniel.
Has there been an issue with Zoranovic? And his car is
That's
struggling.
What sort of damage could they have got for damage? It could be all sorts.
That's the big question. Is Ben Rowley, P2, 5/10 away from Panslow? Ben Rowley hunting to maybe try and take the feature race lead.
Oh!
As he moves around a little bit. And pit window is now open.
Yeah. Smith has just taken CRS and he's now approaching Zoranovic.
Zoranovic looks like he's right behind Paul Kitchener. And Zoranovic overtakes Paul Kitchener in a straight line there, so Zoranovic definitely got a stronger. Simon Mannion has spun it again. Oh, Simon. And he's trying to get back on the track in that 25 Euro Calais high tech. But, yeah, a bit of a bad start to the race, but his feature race as Banslow is dropping down the order.
Banslow's off his stone.
Banslow's off as well. What is going on with
corner?
Oh dear, so that puts Rowley in P2, in P1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, another spin! Another spin!
That's Lee.
Zoranovic?
It's Lee! It's Lee! I don't believe this. Lee has dropped.
Oh!
Lee's gone off. He's going to try and rejoin as best he can. He's trying to rejoin in a safe manner. Don't know what happened there to Lee. Oh dear, oh dear. Bit of a struggle for him to get back, but I'm sure he'll be back up. There's Zoranovic now P4. He's making his way through. Brown been knocked down to P5. Murray, Van der Pasch and Rowley, your top three. Paul Kitchener P6. He's not far off.
Oh, Mannion's off.
And Mannion's off again. Oh
Just
dear.
outside the S's.
Oh dear. Mannion not having a good race at the moment. But hopefully he'll get used to the car again. And he was doing quite well in the sprint race, so don't quite know where it's all gone wrong. Matthew Lee now behind the back of Daniel Salas. Salas has the right to defend here, but the question is, will he? Will he defend from Matthew Lee? I don't think he will. I think he knows that maybe Matthew's a bit quicker than him. And that's the best thing to do. You know, it's a long race. You don't want to ruin your race by racing someone that, you know, is maybe a bit quicker than you.
Oh, Pasch is off.
Oh, and Van der Pasch is now, and he's in the wall. Oh dear, this is going horribly for so many drivers. Van der Pasch, luckily there's no damage. Van der Pasch P8 now. He's going to rejoin in P8. And he's going to have Matthew Lee right up behind him as they go into the left turn going over the brow. Jimmy Murray now. Stark contrast from the sprint race. He's now running P2. He's got Zoranovic right behind him. Is it maybe in his interest, Adam, to start the defensive drive in from Strahinger? Or do you think he's going to defend from Zoranovic or leave the door open?
Yeah, it's still early days. Still got a long way to go.
Looks like Sean Smith and Banslow as Simon Mannion's off again. And he's gone back to the pits. Simon Mannion to the pits. So it looks like he may have retired from this race. As Zoranovic sets the fastest lap of a 1:11.4. So obviously, Adam, these cars are much heavier than they were before. Because a 1:11.4 isn't really a very strong lap from someone like Zoranovic. As Matthew Lee overtakes Van der Pasch, moves himself up to P8, and he's got a heavy drive to get back to the front. Simon Mannion is going to come back out.
There's something wrong with the Van der Pasch car, isn't there? There's got to be.
There must be something wrong. But we'll see if he keeps up with Lee. Banslow's dropped again.
This is taking the fastest lap at a 1:11.4.
Matthew Lee in P8, but we're seeing Banslow is now in P7 and fighting with Kitchener. This is the battle we want to see, and we're going to get it from the point of view of Matthew Lee. As these two drivers are fighting, but Matthew Lee's going to be joining the field as well. So we've got 4 cars in the shot there. Fantastic. Zoranovic now in P2. Got past Jimmy Murray. I think Jimmy Murray tried to fight that, but Zoranovic having none of it, and Murray having a look on the inside. And he's going to go for it. Oh, he nearly did. And he forces Zoranovic to go a little bit wide there. Some fantastic offensive driving from Murray and really good space given to Zoranovic. But the battle's still going on. Lee now moves himself past Kitchener and into P7. He's got to fight for that.
Pasch is right on him though.
Van der Pasch right on Kitchener. Very, very little between the two.
Down through the S's. This is great racing.
Close racing here at Road Atlanta for the first evening of F2 racing. And obviously we go to the next couple of circuits. Adam, we've got a lot to look forward to as we go to the other circuits on the calendar. But right now this circuit is giving us the racing that we've been waiting for.
Agreed. Fantastic circuit. It's one of my favourite.
Absolutely, as we had a bit of an issue there with a bit of ping, maybe on my side that, but Zoranovic, P2, something we've not actually spoken about, and I think actually an incredible job, all mitigations aside, obviously, we've not seen if anything's happened, but Rowley, P1 at the moment, and 7 seconds clear of Zoranovic. That's quite a big gap.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I think. Oh, Smith's off into the wall.
Smith's off into the wall. Matthew Lee's at the quickest lap there. Not just.
Oh, another one. Who else is off? Murray's off.
Murray Span, or has he just lost a position? Oh, Daniel Salas is off. P10, Daniel Salas. Simon Mannion's still in the pits. That's not good for Simon Mannion. He's going to be a lap down, but Salas on the same lap. We're a good couple of laps in now, and he's not yet a lap down. He's starting to get used to the car and starting to understand the limitations of it. So we're seeing an improvement from Salas, but yeah, Simon Mannion in the pits. Not ideal.
Pash is hunting down Kitchener at the moment. Vanzalo, did he just take Lee?
He did. Just seeing the drivers go
Lee's
through.
in the pits. Lee's gone to the pits, but back on track with Tim Brown. Currently in third.
Banslow P5. And yeah, he's looking strong. He's got Murray just in front of him, so these guys both in identical cars. That's just purely because of what they've chosen to run livery-wise. Banslow on a comeback. Obviously was leading the race there early on.
Lee's back out on track now as well. He's out, just left the pits.
So Lee makes that is going to be the first car for a first stop. I don't think Mannion I don't think his pit stops will count, but he's 2 laps down, so kind of out of it. Lee, the first car to pit then, and put on a fresh set of tyres.
Oh,
and he's put on softs.
There's a three-way going on there. 3 wide doesn't fit down this track. Trust me, I've tried it.
Oh, and Paul Kitchener, Sean Smith going too wide. These two drivers fighting tooth and nail. You've got Van der Pasch just in front of them. They're going to turn 1 and they are fighting. This is great. This is some great racing. Kitchener just conceded in that corner, but he's still there and he's still hunting.
That was fantastic to see.
Fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a tight circuit in places.
It really is. We've got Lee. Lee in P9 there. Matthew Lee. He's just put a new set of tyres on. So we're looking to see what he does. He went from super softs to soft tyres, Adam. Interesting choice. But maybe these softs last longer than we give them credit for. So, who knows?
No, I believe that there was a last-minute tyre change just before the start of the race. He switched to mediums. So he took the super softs off and stuck the mediums on, yeah. Okay. Came to its senses, I believe.
Okay, right, interesting. So, that counts as a stop, but I wonder what that's going to do for his race. Those softs probably will wear quite quickly. There's a plan there, obviously. He knows what he's doing, as do all the other drivers in this particular event. Daniel Salas, P10. I'm just back with him for a moment. But skipping through drivers there. We've got Paul Kitchener running in P8. Sean Smith in P7. And now he's hungry. He's looking for that position on Van der Pasch, who is in turn just doing a really good job. P6 on those medium tyres, so hasn't yet pitted.
Salas is coming to the pits.
Salas in the pits now as Jimmy Murray and Banslow, they've swapped positions. Banslow now P4, Murray P5, but they're still close together with Tim Brown P3, and Tim Brown doing a great job at the minute. He's really holding his own. P3, nice, strong, and only 15 seconds off the lead there, Adam. Definite improvement from the last race.
Yeah. Salas back out on track. He's joining as Brown comes up behind him.
Yeah. And Banslow puts in the fastest lap of the race. A 1:11.2 so far. Brilliant lap. As we watch Tim Brown.
Stibbles, Ben's. Oh, hold on.
Jimmy there. Jimmy Murray passing Salas as well. Salas doing a good job, just you know, if he's not the quickest, he's certainly there. But I think Van der Pasch has gone off, he's on the grass. So he's lost places. Paul Kitchener's going to try and make up a position as well. Not sure what happened there from Van der Pasch. Looks like he was on the grass coming out of one of the corners. And he's lost some time there. We've got 30 minutes left of this race, Adam, and already the first 15 minutes have been pretty hot.
I know, it's crazy that they've switched over to softs already. I'm trying to work out what they're going to have to come in for another set of tyres. There's no way they can make a set of softs last 30 minutes, 31 minutes. No way.
Absolutely, I'd agree with that sentiment. That it's going to be a tricky job to maintain those tyres and keep a good pace. And the tyres on 100% wear and 30 minutes on a set of soft tyres. I don't know, that doesn't seem possible. It is pushing it, definitely. As another driver's gone off.
Oh, that's Tom Black.
That was Van der Pasch.
Yeah.
But Paul Kitchener very nearly collected him. But got away with it there as Tim Brown and Jerry Murray now. Banslow's moved himself up into P3. I don't know if Tim Brown had a bad lap or whatever, but Jimmy Murray is now with him as well. P5.
Juranovic has closed the gap on Rowley quite significant. He's only 2.5 seconds behind him now.
And I'm sure we'll be jumping on board with that very soon. He is 1 second quicker than Rowley this lap. As Rowley comes through the first corner, Juranovic, as you can hear, just behind. So he's definitely closing the door. Rowley just trying to keep the car in a good place. Not panic too much. Juranovic is quicker at the moment, but the tyres, you know, it could all play out in the tyres or in the pit stop. If something goes wrong for one of the drivers, then they may end up trying to make their way back up through things. Meanwhile, further back, Daniel Salas has gone off. Another big accident, but he's managed to keep going. Looks like he may have just avoided any significant damage to the car.
Burn 1, 2.
Yeah. And Salah's really struggling with the car at the moment. A shame, because he was doing so well.
As well.
He was doing so well. Juranovic, P2. Just keeping his own at the moment. Simon Mannion in the pits. We'll see Juranovic fly past. Simon Mannion not in the pits. Simon Mannion moving out of the way of Rowley and Juranovic, and then he's going to carry on his way. Simon Mannion still continuing in this race, Adam, despite being 3 laps down. The commitment is real. The commitment's real.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see.
Like we say, just cross that finishing line.
Absolutely, it's just got to get to the end, haven't you? That's all it's what it's about. You know, sometimes you might not necessarily earn the win, but if you make it to the end and everyone else around you doesn't, and you know, it's on for you. As Matthew Lee now very close to Van der Pasch. Is Matthew Lee going to go for a move into turn 1? We're going to wait and see. We're going to find out in just a moment. As Van der Pasch gives him the room. And Matthew Lee's gone off. A
off.
huge accident. Oh, and he's gone off. And he's going to lose. Oh dear, that's not good for Matthew Lee. He's got to get himself back in the running, get himself back on track. Oh dear, I think he'd lost it on the curb. And those tyres, Adam, they're going to be really hot now. Something that we don't mention actually is once you lose these cars and warm the tyres up, it becomes incredibly difficult.
It can take a couple of laps for the tyres to come back down to temperature and get your pressures equalised again.
Exactly, and that just means that you end up being slower, right? The whole spin doesn't just cost you the spin time; it costs you everything that comes after it as well. But
and if you push it as well, those tyres, you'll just come off again. When I was learning sim racing, quite often I'd spin the car, and then the next 3 laps I'd be spinning off the track.
We've got a race in the pits, by the way. We've got Tim Brown and Jimmy Murray in on the same lap. And we're going to see who gets the better pit stop.
Banslow's off. He's just kind of rejoining the track now.
Banslow's still going.
Zoranovic is he coming up behind Rowley? We've got a battle going on. Oh! Did I just spot Netcode rearing his ugly head there?
Possibly may have done.
It may have been. It looked to me like Netcode may have pushed Zoranovic maybe, or somebody into the wall. We'll have to re-look at that at the end of the race.
Yeah, Ben Rowley still P1. Zoranovic has come in the pits.
It looks like it must have been Zoranovic then. He must have got in front and then lost it maybe.
Oh dear. Obviously using that pit entry on the left rather than the right. But Zoranovic deciding now is the time to pit. Rowley, his car is moving around quite a lot. Considering everybody else's cars are pretty stable. We'll see what that does for Rowley and where that puts him for future events if it continues. But Banslow now P2, Zoranovic P3, 10 seconds away from Banslow, and Zoranovic has made that pit stop, so he's going to make that work for himself as Ben Rowley navigates Daniel Salas. And there's been a collision. The leader of the race and Daniel Salas have come together. I'm not sure what happened there. There seems to be some big issues going on with internet connection around that driver in the first position at the moment, Ben Rowley. Anytime drivers seem to be getting near him, there definitely seems to be something happening. This is going to have to get looked at post-race. There was known issues, but we have been told...
and that's Tim Brown in the wall.
And Tim Brown is in the wall. That's not good for his racecraft as Lee moves up to P7. And we've got Simon Mannion off. Oh dear, that's not good. Banslow now P1. Tim Brown P8 there. Murray just behind him and closing in. Zoranovic P3 as he's come out the pits now, and Rowley made a pit stop as well. So Rowley's actually made some really good time on that pit stop. 10 seconds is pretty big. Zoranovic maybe having a couple of issues with pit stops and stuff, but Rowley doing a great job staying out in front. Oh, and Tim Brown has gone off again. That's going to give Murray the position. I don't know what's going on there, but Tim Brown really struggling in to the S's, Adam, and it's giving Jimmy Murray the position.
The thing about the S's is it can be quite tricky to enter into the S's, especially the second turning on the S's. If you're not on the right line, car can go very light, and if you bait your tyres, then you can find yourself without any traction coming down through. Like we're on board with Banzolo now, it's about here where you can lose your traction and spin. So that's where I think people are finding trouble.
Oh, we've got a battle between Kitchener and Smith.
That's right.
With Smith going... Oh, and Matthew Lee...
Oh,
no, sorry. No, Mannion's off.
Who's off?
Matthew Lee, fastest lap. That overlaid. Mannion's come off there. Salas, Mannion, both identical laps down now, so there's points to be had.
I would
Mannion
never have
having a
thought
really hard
Banslow
time.
would be at the front there on this race, to be honest with you.
Banslow, I think, is yet to pit. He's still on those mediums. A number of drivers are still yet to pit. Smith, Kitchener, they're still yet to pit.
Yeah, so we've got Haskell needs to pit. Barnes,
That's me.
Stibbles.
Man-
Oh yeah, that's good. Stibbles, Hornby, Wilson, North T. Okay.
There's a couple of drivers still need to pit. Mannion needs to pit, I believe. I think the main drivers that need to pit still are Banslow, Sean Smith, and Van der Pasch, Paul Kitchener. I think those are the drivers that still need to pit. Matthew Lee going another quickest lap, a 1:10.8 now, and starting to climb his way back up through the field. He's only 1.3 seconds behind Kitchener. You can see him there in the back of the shot as Kitchener is chasing to hold that position off from Matthew Lee, but chase down Sean Smith to hopefully try and put a bit of pressure on. Lee sat behind, and this is the closest battle at the moment. Extremely close between these two drivers. Lee is going to go for the inside, and he gets a really good launch out of the turn down that goes down the back straight towards the final few corners. And he's going to move himself up to P6. Is Kitchener going to fight this? A late braking manoeuvre from Kitch. Looks like Kitch is going to try and fight this as he stays to the inside line and then just gives it up there at the end just to back out, realising maybe Matt has got a bit more pace than he has, and that's okay to do. Sometimes you've got to know your battles. Zoranovic, P3. Banslow still yet to pit. So 19 minutes to pit yet, so a bit more time still. As Van der Pasch does come in the pit, so Van der Pasch, the next car in that grouping of cars to come in, Adam, and let's see what tyres he changes to. He was on the mediums. Let's see what he changes to. Salas. Van der Pasch coming back out of the pits after doing his fresh tyre change. And he's on the softs. Van der Pasch on the softs. 20 minutes in the race to go. That actually might make more sense than the half an hour that Lee was using, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 20 minutes is about as far as you want to be pushing the softs in competitive speeds. You know, like really pushing the car, because you are going to wear those tyres down quick. Especially on a track with the temperature as high as it is.
Absolutely, yeah, this is it. And Daniel Salas off into the gravel and through the grass. He's going to hopefully just stay out of the way of those drivers. And he does so in the correct manner. Lee and Smith now in a battle for what will be fourth position. Well, actually third position. As Banslow's still yet to pit. And I think that pit delta is around 25 seconds. Ben Rowley, P2, but that is technically P1 on track at the minute.
So we've still got Kitchener, Smith and Banslow to pit then.
We do indeed. Kitchener doing a really good job. I think the last race he definitely struggled a little bit with the car, but it's like he's finding a bit more of a comfortable position and setup for him to go chasing after a bit more lap time, which will help as Lee now goes around the outside of Sean. Sean Smith can hold the outside line. Is Sean Smith going to try and defend this, or again does he know that Matt's just he tries to, but yeah, Matt Lee another position gained, and Matt's really putting in the lap times.
Oh,
Banslow is off. Banslow's off. He's not
Banslow's
even
in the
stopped yet.
stand.
He's not even stopped yet. Oh, that's not going to be good for Banslow. I'm guessing those tyres starting to wear.
Yeah.
And oh dear, Banslow. Hopefully he can get himself to the pits and get himself out, but that lap time.
Well, ideally, he wants to be staying out for another 5 minutes if he can. If he can keep those tyres going for another 5 minutes,
Yep.
then it certainly puts those last 15 minutes on the soft absolutely perfect. It's exactly where you want to be.
Or even the super softs if you were to be risky enough at this point in the
Right.
race, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely a possibility. Rowley, though, Adam, he's only 8.5 seconds away from Banzlo now and closing in. So he's definitely going to lose first position coming out of the pits, and he's definitely going to lose third. The gap from Lee to Banzlo, I don't know if that's a small enough gap. Ben Rowley still in second. Banzlo still hasn't pitted. So he's carrying on his merry way in P1. Zoranovic with a 1:10.8. Not the quickest lap of the race, but a strong lap nonetheless, keeping himself in contention. Lee with a 1:11.0. So Lee's maybe starting to struggle with these tyres now that he's had on for quite a while. He's been on those softs. He's been on those softs for about 12 minutes now. And with 15 minutes also left to go, yeah, he needs to maybe try and nurse those tyres.
Is taking the lead, isn't he? Is he? No, he's got fastest lap. Sorry, fastest lap for Zoranovic at 1:10.8. So he's gaining for sure.
Gaining close as well, and I think
He's on the hards.
Tim Brown, he is indeed. Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting to see what that's going to develop into as Lee's on those soft tyres. So, you know, is the pace still in there? Has he been maybe trying to look after the tyres? He's had a couple of issues where he's come off, so dare I say that's maybe cost him a little bit. Van der Pasch and Tim Brown now fighting for what is essentially P8. Van der Pasch getting a little bit loose and a little bit wide. That's going to cost him down the straight behind Brown. Meanwhile, everyone else sitting station. Sean Smith just going through turn 1, and he is 28 seconds off the lead. It's still a close battle. Or 20 seconds, I suppose, but still a close battle. As Paul Kitchener, he's come into the pits. So,
Lee's off.
Lee's off again. Oh, this is.
No, it wasn't Lee.
Oh, it's Simon. It's Simon Mannion. It's Simon Mannion.
Man. Yeah.
Simon Mannion's come off again. Oh dear.
Up through the S's again.
And
coming out out the other end of the S's.
The story between the drivers for the top 4, the mid 4 pack, Brown, Van der Pasch and Kitchener, is that Kitchener has come out worse. As Banzlo, our race leader, is now coming in the pits. That is going to see. We're going to start to see now as Rowley comes through the final corner.
Let's see what tyres he sticks on.
Zoranovic now P2. Lee, we need to see where Lee's going to come out. As Lee comes across the start-finish line. Banzlo only just stopping in his box now. Smith also in. Smith was fighting with Van der Pasch, Brown and Kitchener, so that's going to be a relevant battle for when he comes back out. Meanwhile, Murray doing a fantastic job and is kind of going to be in there if he can catch up to Smith. We're going to wait and see.
And he's come straight back out on the softs again.
Interesting. Smith comes back out. And what tyres is Smith going to be on? It is indeed the soft tyres. He was on the mediums. So perfect time now. That last 15 minutes.
Exactly, perfect time. Those last 5 minutes.
Oh my word, the gaps. Wow. Look at this battle between. Oh my god. You've got Smith, Van der Pasch, Brown. Kitchener is just a little bit off this pack, but he needs to get some pace, find some confidence, and catch up to this battle because Van der Pasch all over the back of Sean Smith. Sean Smith tyres still going to be cold from that pit exit. Van der Pasch going to try it around the outside. And he does though. Oh my word, that was great racing from both drivers. Van der Pasch, really brilliant move around the outside. Sean Smith just conceding the position a little bit. Just waiting for the tyres to get warmed up. Van der Pasch, those tyres are obviously about 2 laps older than Sean's now, so that's going to make a difference. Tim Brown sat right behind Sean Smith as well, and he's looking for that position. He's looking for another position.
Oh, who was in the sand there?
Salaz has gone off, I think, in the gravel.
Yeah, Salaz is in the gravel.
He needs to just keep away from the traffic and just rejoin in a safe manner, and he is doing so. He's waiting for other cars. It's brilliant, safe driving from Daniel Zars.
Smith is gaining, and he's got the advantage. He's got the coming through. Van der Pass took him on the outside though.
Yeah, and Van der Pasch now in front of Sean.
They've got to watch this put through the S's because they could. This is where they lose it on the second corner. It's where it goes light if you're not careful.
All three of them.
Looking good. It's looking good.
All three of them.
And it's
Oh,
gone,
Van der
it's gone
Pasch
light,
has
it's
gone.
gone light.
Oh,
He's gone light.
Van der Pasch. Oh dear.
yeah.
And that's
You have to be so careful coming out of those S's because the car is light by the time you get to that last corner.
Absolutely, the tyres are hot as well. And now obviously Van der Pasch will be suffering with those warm tyres as the car's going to be loose. Meanwhile, Lee, now P3, only 10 seconds off the lead. And, I mean, what a comeback from Lee. Zoranovic only less than a second from Rowley, so we're going to be cutting to that any moment, no doubt, as that will come across the line. But Banslow P4, Murray P5, Sean Smith P6, Tim Brown P7, Van der Pasch P8, Kitchener P9, Sean Smith just getting around the side of Mannion there.
Radovic is catching up with Rowley here on the straight, setting himself up for a take. Coming up onto the inside line, what's he going to do?
Right, we're not seeing this in the cameras. There's two drivers have gone off. Simon Mannion's gone off. And Van der Pasch nearly went off. I think he saved it. But why are we not seeing the battle? I'm going to fix that. 1 second. Oh, Ben Rowley's off. He's crashed.
Oh, just caught the end of that.
Rowley's just crashed.
Wow.
That puts Zoranovic in P1. I don't believe that. What happened to Ben Rowley?
I have no idea. I need to see a different camera from that.
Now Ben Rowley and Matthew Lee. They're going to be fighting with each other. Matthew Lee he's dying to get past. He's dying to get past Rowley there. He knows 10
Well,
seconds
Rowley's
to
got
Zoranovic
dirty
is
tyres
nothing.
now, so...
Rowley, is he going to defend or is he just going to... He's going to try and defend.
Where's that on the side of the road? Man.
Mannion off the road again. Not a good evening from Simon in terms of he just won't be happy with this performance. I know Simon well and won't be happy with this performance. Salah's doing a good job, but Matthew Lee.
Yeah, Rowley coming down the straight. Is he going to get him?
Rowley's gone for the move on the inside, but he's ended up in the gravel.
What have you got coming in the sand?
It's a bit of a do or die move from Rowley there, and a bit of a clumsy defensive mistake. That frees Lee to go after Zoranovic. Now, Adam, we've got 10 minutes left. Do you think that 10 seconds can be brought down? 11 seconds?
It's always possible. Always possible. I've won of being 10 seconds behind the guy in front because they make a mistake, and that's generally what happens. You got on tires are going to be worn by the end of the event. If you've got any kind of aero damage that's going to be affecting, or even suspension damage that could affect it. I mean, the S's have already claimed many victims already on this event. Oh, and Tim Brown's lost it. Locked up and lost it and put himself in the sand there. But yeah, it's anything can happen. 10 seconds is not that big a gap.
No, it's really not actually. And
no, Zoranovic, all he's got to do is put it in the sand once, and that gap will halve at least, at the very least. You just keep it on the tarmac.
He really does need to keep it on the tarmac right now and just be nice and smooth, and definitely chase after him. The gap's behind as well. Rowley isn't that far off Lee.
But this is it. Lee's also going to be focusing on his wing mirrors, wondering how far back Rowley is, which is going to take some of his concentration. So Lee has got a big job on his hands here. He needs to bring that gap down with Zoranovic. Zoranovic, he's just got to sit where he is. If he can sit where he is and keep that 10-second gap, then he's laughing all the way to the line. But yeah, Lee, he's also got to keep an eye on it, make sure that he doesn't get surprised.
Rowley with a really great feature race, to be honest. Still a lot to be questioned about his internet connection and the issues that he seems to be having. But if all is to go by and there's no issues and the racing's been great, then P3 and a good solid 10-second gap to the next car, Adam. That's a good feature race and a good first evening.
Yeah,
racing for
he
him.
does seem to be losing though about half a second a lap at the moment for some reason, which is a weird thing to happen. What tyres is he on? What's right? Softs. He faked his tyres.
Okay.
That's possibly why he's now almost 4 seconds behind. So he's dropped a second in the last 2 laps. Yeah, 4
Banzlo on
seconds.
those soft tyres as well. So he's right behind Rowley.
Oh, Vanderpash is in the sand. And that cost him 5 seconds. So yeah, so if Saranovic ends up in the sand, then that's 5 seconds. Lee could easily, in the next 7 minutes, he could make that time up. Yeah,
absolutely. Jimmy Murray there, P5. He's chasing after Banzlo. Jimmy Murray, the only driver on hards. Adam. Interesting choice of tyre. And actually, he's keeping himself in that top 5. He's not really with Smith, Van der Pasch and Kitchener and Brown. He's kind of in his own space, doing his own thing, which from the sprint race where he was a lap down, I think this is a really good comeback. And Banzlo, P4. Strong race from Banzlo. Was leading this race at one point. Obviously the pit stops and stuff like that made that difference. Matthew Lee with a 1:10.9 and now only 10 seconds from Zivanovic. He is starting to close that gap in. Rowley with a 1:12. So he's lost some time. Banzlo going to cross the line with a 1:11.2. So he's closing in on Rowley. So it's not done yet with 6 minutes to go.
big shout out to our fans in our chat, YouTube chat, Black Box YouTube channel. Sorry, didn't catch you on that screen there, so apologies for not giving you a big shout out earlier.
And big thanks to everybody for supporting both Black Box and CRS in this first stream that we're doing here for the Formula 2 series at Road Atlanta. With 5 minutes left to go, we're gonna start to think about, what the end of this race means. The sprint race earlier on, Adam was really good, as we see Sean Smith getting a little bit sideways, passing and lapping Daniel Salas. Sean Smith giving a bit of a weave to say, not cool, but I've got past you. Yeah, 5 minutes left, and the sprint race obviously sold us a particular story, but the feature race story has been one of tyres, as Simon Mannion just moving out of the way there in turn 1.
Yeah.
But it's been an interesting story.
Tyres and possibly aero setup, so I'm not sure they got their aeros quite right for the S's there. It's quite demanding on the car.
It is indeed.
Oh, did Banzlo just lose it?
There is another driver that's just gone, but looks like he's back on pace. Sean Smith, P6, and doing a good job. Good job there. 10 seconds away from Murray. So there are gaps that have formed from these pit stops. The drivers aren't strung out
big gap
completely.
between Murray.
There is quite a big gap there, and 20 odd seconds from Murray to Banzlo would suggest that Murray is kind of in his own little bubble, doing his own thing, maybe managing the race to the end with those hard tyres, perhaps getting a little bit worn now as he gets to the end. Lee is doing everything he can to catch Zaranovic with 4 minutes to go. 9.7 seconds now, the gap, so he has closed it in, but Adam, I don't think that's going to be enough. I don't see that you can close 9 seconds in the next 4 minutes unless Zaranovic has some awful...
Well, I was about to come back to this. I mean, Zaranovic has done a fantastic job of keeping a 10-second gap almost exactly on the dot for every single lap so far. Through every single section, he's matching pace for pace. It must be really frustrating for Lee, especially if he's got his crew chief working away at him.
And Banzo's come off. Banzo's crashed, and he is going to get himself going again. He's P4 right now, but Murray is going to come past him. Oh no, it's not Murray. Sorry, that's Mannion. Or yeah, I'm assuming that's Mannion, and that is Mannion just trying to make his way
through.
make his way through. Zoranovic just passing Paul Kitchener. So Kitchener now a lap down, which means Van der Pasch is the next car that Stranger Zoranovic needs to try and lap. Perhaps this is why we're seeing the delta drop a little bit from Lee to Zoranovic, is that Zoranovic has come across a little bit of traffic.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a half a second it's dropped. I mean, it's hardly anything. And then just 2.5 minutes, unless something drastically happens to Zoranovic.
As Daniel Salas has gone off. Yeah, you're very right, yeah. Daniel Salas has had a really I'm assuming it's a bit of a frustrating time as he rejoined the circuit very unsafely there. That'll definitely get looked at later. Tim Brown has nudged him out of the way a little bit because he's like, come on. Tim Brown P9. He's chasing after Kitchener. I'm not sure where Tim Brown's race has faded to, Adam. He was really strong earlier and it seems to have just sort of not fallen apart, but fallen away, should we say.
Yeah.
You've got a particular driver of the day. We've got 2 minutes left in this session.
Oh, well. Van der Pasch has given us quite a lot of excitement, it's got to be said. Zoranovic has done really well to keep out the front now. I mean, strategy-wise, he's played it right. He's obviously the car's very well set up. Rowley's been quite an exciting event. He's just a little bit disappointed. I'd say Zoranovic is the one that's really surprised me today.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'd agree. Zoranovic has done quite well. Lee only 9.1 seconds now, so he's closing that gap. Rowley has done a good job with situations aside that. My standout driver has got to be Banslow, because while I've known Banslow for quite a while, his comeback drive this evening has been really quite impressive. Simon Mannion there, 7 laps down now, and he's just trying to get to the end, I think. With a minute left to go, he just wants to get to the end of this race. He was complaining earlier that he was struggling with the car, but we just need to learn to drive it a bit smoother.
Yeah. I mean, occasionally I do jump onto the black box servers with one of our team members. It takes him a long time to get used to car setups and tracks, so I tend to kind of go out there and he follows me around. I talk through the line, the gear, any particular kind of car setups I can recommend. So if anyone's interested, just reach out to us.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Regarding that, obviously, we've had track guides pop up now. We've got Matt Lee, who's actually one of the drivers here tonight, gives us a track guide now each week. And we do have a track guide for this circuit. So those drivers have had access to that track guide, and I think in some ways that's helped some drivers. But with no time left on the clock, final corner, it's Syringa Zoranovic, and he's going to take race 2, the feature race here at Road Atlanta. A good solid win from Zoranovic. Matt Lee, not that far off, and was closing in at the end, but not quite enough in a bad mid-race.
Passion Kitchener a lap down.
Yeah, Passion Kitchener a lap down. Ben Rowley, P3 on the podium in his feature race. Things still to be questioned about internet connection and other such things, as we can see even now, still some problems, but yeah, P3 provisionally at the moment. Banslow, a great race, a great comeback, my driver of the day, of course, and doing a great comeback. Banslow in P4 as he's going to come out of the final corner and over the hill and through the final corner to finish his race and finish P4. Murray is going to come out of the final chicane. He's P5, so a good haul of points from Murray. And then behind him, as Murray comes through the final corner and crossing the line, it's Smith. Sean Smith, he's going to come across the line, not that far behind Murray. And then I think the rest of the drivers have finished in the correct procession.
Yeah.
So Van der Pasch finishing P7 after a really good promising start. Van der Pasch struggling a little bit towards the end. Kitchener at P8, a good solid position. That's kind of where he was all race. So to keep that position and to be fighting with other people Mega job from him. Tim Brown, a bit of a fall away race from Tim Brown, but we know he's very capable. He'll be back in the next race next weekend. Daniel Salas, a good improvement, and Simon Mannion at P11, Salas P10 respectively. Murray pulling off there to go back to the pits as the race is over. And what a race. Zoranovic, Lee, and Browley, the top three. And yeah. Any opinions on that as we come to the end of the evening?
Well, what a race! What it wasn't opening to a series. To be fair, it's got to be said. It's quite an eventful evening we've had for the start of the season. I mean, you must have. Have you got any idea, kind of, who you think could potentially win the series?
It's a good question. I think currently, right now, obviously, Stranger Zoranovic is going to have pulled a nice big gap there in the points.
Yeah.
But 3 circuits left to come, with some great circuits coming up. And yeah, we'll see who's got the best abilities at the next track, for which we will tell you that any moment. But what we're going to do first of all is we're going to get those drivers that finished on the podium into our broadcast chat for Adam and myself to ask some questions away on that race and find out exactly the story behind that. And it was a great race, wasn't it, Adam?
Oh yeah. It was really fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The time just flew past. There was so much excitement. There's so many great little battles going on. It was really hard, kind of bouncing between the cameras, to try and keep up with everything.
It was.
I'm quite looking forward to getting into the replays and seeing what we can see from different angles, really.
Absolutely. So we're gonna some of the drivers, we're gonna drag them over now to us, and there we go. We've got our drivers with us in the chat now, and so we'll chat to the third place driver. Both myself and Adam have got questions for everybody, so hope you hold your horses. Benji, P3 there, and a good podium position to start off your Formula 2 season.
Yeah, but probably the highest I've finished all season. No idea what happened at the start. Absolutely lucked my way into turn one. Nowhere near the pace of the boys at the front. That's how it is. I led for a lot longer than I thought I was going to. A hell of a lot longer, in fact. And then to throw away P2 all on my own because I downshifted instead of lifted is kicking myself for that. But yeah, P3 is a lot higher up than I thought I was going to be on pure pace. These boys are fast. Bit of a bridge to gap.
Well, congratulations on the P3. A really good drive there. Some
Thank
stuff to
you.
look at afterwards, I'm sure, from everybody, and I'm sure everything's provisional until it's all sorted. But mega at P3. Matt, P2 there. A bit of a up and down race for you, but all in all, P2 still managed to bring home some points.
Yeah, a bit of damage limitation, not my best work, to be honest.
Okay. Adam, any questions so far?
What did you guys find of the S's? What's your feedback? Anyone there?
It was fine. It was just when you catch other drivers at the wrong point, it's very difficult to judge. And if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you lose so much time around that track because it's all flat out apart from 2 corners.
Yeah, and some people don't know how to get out of the way because they literally like break on the racing line, which is
Obviously, that kind of thing will be reported by the relevant drivers. Stra, speaking of people doing really well in the racing, P1 again. Obviously, your sprint race was a P1 as well. At one point there, it didn't look like it was going to happen. Like you fell back a bit through an incident or a spin, but you came back there to take P1 in the end.
I had 2 spins, so the first one was because of lag. I was behind the car and then suddenly he teleported ahead of me and I just did a 360. I had no idea what happened, then I pitted for hards. I didn't know how the hards felt. Then I spun on my outlap, which cost me about 11 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
So to still win with 10 seconds is, I think, pretty good. And at some lap, my wheel was stuck in 4th gear. Luckily, it's Sony just fixed itself, which I think I also had some downshift problems. Like I was stuck in 5th gear for some while and stuff, which is pretty good.
But yeah, a mega job in the P1, and obviously that strengthens that lead now as we go into next weekend. What are you looking forward to next weekend and building that lead now?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And,
But there's one problem, and that is that I am going on vacation probably next 2 weeks.
oh
So-
dear. Right. Okay.
So yeah, I won't be able to win the championship. If I might do next week, but I'm definitely not sure.
Okay.
Well, we look forward to seeing you, nonetheless.
We do indeed look forward to seeing you. Thank you to all three of you for joining us in the comms booth. It's been a brilliant feature race. Some real good strategies out there from some different drivers and some interesting stuff to recap on for us in the comms booth. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening and congratulations on the podium.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, Adam, yeah, as we approach the end of the evening, it's been a great evening of racing, hasn't it? It's been close, it's been fierce, but most of all, it's been exciting, and that's kind of what we hope for here at CRS. And Road Atlanta has been a good circuit to us, hasn't it?
It's always a great circuit, absolutely fantastic circuit. One of my favourites, I said. The S's is a tricky little sneaky, twisty, turny stretch of road with some unusual cambers. It's downhill, so you're carrying a lot of speed through there, and yeah, if someone's in the way and you have to come offline, and that's when all hell breaks loose, and it causes a bit of excitement. And obviously, it also helps to bunch the pack up, so it makes it a bit more exciting for us spectators for watching as well.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think it's been a really great race. Obviously, this circuit really developed some good stories there. Stranger Ivanovic, obviously, with a healthy lead now, 63 points to Matt Lee's 55. Banslow very close on 52. And then Ben Rowley and Van der Pasch on 42. So those guys nice and close as we go out of round one. Sean Smith 40, Jimmy Murray with 36, along with Tim Brown, who also has 36. Paul Kitchener on 34, Daniel Salas on 22, Simon Mannion on 22. So some drivers there with equal points as we come out of the first race. So obviously swapping.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I felt that Van der Pasch was kind of slightly robbed of that race a little bit. He had a really unlucky time. Really unlucky time.
He did indeed. And well, as we go on, we're looking forward to next weekend, the 14th of July. Well, hopefully you'll be with us as we travel to Indianapolis for the road circuit. Obviously, we're going to be traveling to Indianapolis later on this year for the Indy 500, but this is a chance for all the drivers, Adam, to get used to Indianapolis, and having that circuit in their inventory or in their content is going to be important, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So,
important circuit in the series.
It's going to be a massively important circuit in the series. Obviously, all these circuits now, guys, will be American circuits as well. So we're not only are we going to be doing Indianapolis, but we've then got Watkins Glen, and then we finish off at Laguna Seca, a great circuit for open wheel racing. The Corkscrew is going to really throw some challenges to some of the drivers, but that is.
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to be sat down there at the Corkscrew, I think, not move anywhere, because that evil.
Just keep the camera there. Yeah, just keep the camera there. That's one. Well, folks, me and Adam, we both want to say thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been a lot of fun. I think I've had fun. Have you had fun, Adam?
I've had a great time. Bit panicky in places with things like happening so quickly. It's hard to keep up on the cameras and try and jump to the action.
We did indeed. Sorry, yeah, we did cover most of it, and we tried our best with everything that we had in terms of cameras and commentary. We hope you enjoyed the commentary that we've given you this evening. Hope to see you next week, 14th of July, Sunday, and that is going to be live here on CRS on YouTube. Make sure to tune in from 7 o'clock for the Indy sprint race, followed by the Indy feature race. But that is a bye from myself and Adam.
And goodbye from me up here in Scotland.
Yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. This has been CRS, and it's been the F2 series. See you next week.
This race is going to be a commentator's nightmare.
That just got in.